Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm Citadel welcome to our 2021 commencement speaker and Commandant of the Corps, Captain Geno Paluso.
Good afternoon. No. You guys got to sleep in. The first group was a lot louder. Good afternoon. That's what I'm talking about. The members of the Board of Visitors, General Walters, Mrs. Walters, distinguished visitors and guests, family and friends, and most importantly, the members of the class of 2021. I too add my welcome and thank everyone for being here. And just before I get started, for everybody that's on the wings and all around here, take a look at what's on the floor. Take a look at these young leaders here. And for all of you on the floor, take a look around to your classmates because you are the reason that we are here today. And I just don't mean your graduation ceremony. You are the reason why we were able to stay here today and make this year successful. So congratulations and thank you. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Of all the honors I've received in my life, being asked to speak here today exceeds all of them. To the class of 2021, thank you for inviting me to speak on this, your pinnacle of your Citadel career, and for me, one of my last official acts as the Commandant of Cadets. As a show of my appreciation, I wanted to give you all something more than just the words that I'm going to speak today. So having been the Commandant for 7 years now, I think I know exactly what you all want. And since you are all still considered cadets, at least for the next few minutes, I found what I think is the best thing possible. And after consultation with Sergeant Major Yeagle, who is standing directly behind you, I hereby grant all of you a 48-hour pass. General leave on every day of the week, regardless of proficiency or your last duty, in civilian clothes on and off campus, and with a backpack if you want. Just make sure you check out and CAS first, please. Additionally, with special permission from General Walters, I hereby grant class of 2021 amnesty. See, there's a couple people that need it out there. But more importantly, all of you that got away with something, you got a clean conscience now. You're good to go. So with all that out of the way, what I want 2021 to do is stand up and give a round of applause to everybody that's here for you right now and everybody that's out there on the virtual land that got you here today and help support you. Stand up, give them a round of applause. All right, sit down. You know, it's been said being a graduation speaker can be one of the hardest things, but yet also one of the easiest things to do. All you have to do is be brief, be interesting, and be gone. Most people say they don't remember who spoke at their graduation, and none of you better say that. But some remember them very well. To me, the most important thing isn't remember who spoke at your graduation, except for me, okay? But really what was said. So with that, I wanted to take some time to share with you what I think I've learned since I've graduated from the Citadel. But more importantly, what I think I've learned from all of you with our time here together. The journey in learning and growing never stops, no matter how much you think you know, how much you think you've done, or how much you think you've learned. You never stop growing and learning. That's one of the most important things that you've learned here over the past 4 years, as well as everything we do here has a reason and a training value. I know the cadets don't often understand that and question that very often. It's been that way for 179 years. But really, your 4-year journey here is more realistic and more like the real world than you really know. How you went from being a knob, the lowest common denominator in our system, people that don't know anything, to being the top dogs, leading and commanding the Corps Cadets. It's really how things operate in the real world. Your life, like it or not, will forever be a series of journeys, just like the road less traveled. Your future is a series of Citadel experiences, knobbed through senior year. I hate to say it, but every phase of your life is going to start with another knob year, over and over again. You will have a life of what I call Citadel cycles. Now, will it mean your chin's in, bracing, sitting on the front 3 inches of your chair, doing push-ups, getting yelled at? Yeah, maybe. It depends on what life throws at you. Trust me, I find myself sitting on the front 3 inches of my chair, bracing, sitting at attention, when the only person in this world that I'm scared of, my wife, is addressing me for something that I did wrong or said wrong. Happens pretty often. So in a very short time, you will become the most recent graduates from this exceptional institution and pass through those gates for the very last time. On Monday morning, you will suddenly become the world's knobs. It doesn't matter if you're commissioning in the military, work for Amazon, the FBI, go to grad school, work for Deloitte. It will be that new, unfamiliar, not in the gut, getting started all over feeling and experience. The difference is you already know how that feels. And more importantly, you know how to overcome that. You realize that yes, everything you did here had a reason. It had a training value. And you know how to handle anything. No matter your experience here at the Citadel, you are very well prepared. Each and every challenge, no matter how easy or difficult, is something you know how to handle and will overcome. I went through a very similar experience after graduation from here as a new ensign trying to become a U.S. Navy SEAL. Standing on the beach in Coronado with 160 men just like me, getting yelled at and doing every physical thing known to man, took me straight back to knob year. Even at Buds, the trainees in the last phase of training, seniors, look at the trainees in the first phase of training, the knobs, as the new guys, or as knobs. But not everyone in my Buds class had the experience that I did to start a second knob year. Not all of them had the opportunities like the ones the Citadel affords us. Not all of them came from a place where hard work, grit, and determination are ingrained into you each and every day. A place where you are given opportunities to excel and succeed, where mediocrity is not accepted. Unfortunately, that cost some of them, about 87% of them, their shot at becoming a SEAL. This cycle repeated itself again and again throughout my career and my personal life. New commands, new deployments, higher ranks, each marked the start of a new journey or the start of another knob year. Marriage, children, bills, mortgages, they come to all of us. And trust me, there's nothing like knob year until you get married and you have children. So all the parents out there, they start getting married and having children and they call you about some advice or a problem, let them know you've already been through it because you've been through knob year. Throughout my life, navigating the constant Citadel cycles that I've been in my career and my personal life, I've developed a few grounding principles that I believe are key to successful navigation for each and every one of those cycles. To begin, and as I mentioned in the beginning, understand up front that you're immensely prepared graduating from this institution for these different Citadel cycles. You have the foundation, the building blocks to face and deal with anything, no matter what comes your way, no matter what mini Citadel cycle that I'm in, and I'm about to enter a new one as I retire. I break it down into 4 simple truths. So what is a truth? Bear with me on this one. Britannica says, and I quote, "Truth in metaphysics and in the philosophy of language, the property of sentences, assertions, beliefs, thoughts, or propositions that are said in ordinary discourse to agree with the facts or to state what is the case. Truth is the aim of belief, falsity is thought." End quote. Anybody understand what I just said? I don't. Really? That's what it is? For me, a truth is a fact, something that you have to deal with, period. In special operations world, we have what are known as 5 soft truths. They are humans are more important than hardware, quality is better than quantity, special operations cannot be mass produced, competent special operations cannot be created after an emergency occurs, and most special operations require non-special operation support. They are guiding principles of an organization where the men and women of the special operations community believe that help us shape our future and our success. They are facts. But as I stated, on a personal level, I have my own truths, my own guiding principles that I believe in dealing with my Citadel cycles and what life's truths throw at me. So here we go. I'm going to be Captain Obvious for a little while and not Captain Paluso. So truth number 1, life is a team sport so be a great teammate. We've all heard that at one time or another, but trust me, it's true. No one, and I mean no one, gets through life without great teammates. You all experience that here at the Citadel because our system is designed that way. None of you got here by yourselves. But what are great teammates? Where do they come from? Some you choose, and some are given to you. Your parents, your family, your siblings, your professors, your classmates, and yes, even your commandant. During training to become a SEAL at BUD/S, there are many different individual and team evolutions throughout the 6 months of BUD/S training. The one that sets the stage early in training, first of 3 phases, is the use of what the Navy calls an inflatable boat small, or an IBS. It starts early in first phase where you're assigned to 6 or 7 man teams, 6 enlisted, 1 officer. The boat crew becomes, and you're named a boat crew. Your boat crew becomes your team during this phase of training, and you're responsible for everything that goes right, and more importantly, everything that goes wrong. The members are all assigned by boat crew by height, and to a specific boat that you put a number on, your boat crew's number, kind of like your company letter. An IBS is 12 feet long and about 110 pounds. It's a rubber boat. Most of the evolutions that you do on and around the beach in the water, you do with your boat crew and with your IBS. Most of the time during this initial 8 weeks, this 8-week phase, when you're going from point A to point B, you carry that thing on your head. Hence why you are assigned by height. If one of the individuals under that boat isn't carrying their share of the load, then that weight gets transferred to the others. Makes sense, right? And the team picks up their share of the load. Now, obviously, that boat gets heavier and things get slower, and it pays to be a winner at BUD/S. But everybody has a good day and a bad day under that boat. But that's where your teammates come into play. Carrying your share of the load when you're struggling. It's those that continuously do not carry their share of the load that either quit or they're dropped because they'll never be effective teammates. So no matter how hard things get, your teammates don't put their shortcomings on somebody else's shoulders, or in this case, on their heads. Everyone must be able to carry their share of the load. Remember, to get good teammates, you must be a good teammate. Life is a team sport, so be the teammate you want others to be for you. Truth number 2, life is hard, unfair, and at times very, very unforgiving. It's up to you to find the opportunity in every situation, good and bad. Make the most of what you have. And just as important, constantly strive to make your teammates' lot in life, the people to your right and left, better. Remember, there's a waiver for everything except death. So no matter how impossible or bad a situation may seem, there's always an opportunity to, as they say, make lemonades out of lemons. So when life gets hard, things aren't going your way, you're not getting what you want, get over it, figure it out, and get on with it. You only get one shot at your Citadel cycle, so make the most of it. Truth number 3, there is always somebody bigger, tougher, smarter than you in every room you enter. Graduating from the Citadel comes with a confidence, a sense of accomplishment, and yes, a touch of arrogance at times. You've already accomplished something under normal circumstances that most Americans have not or will not in their lifetime. I felt the same way in 1989 as I set out to become a U.S. Navy SEAL. But I learned something on my first trip home to Pittsburgh to visit my family after completing my training at BUD/S and attending jump school at Fort Benning, Georgia. I felt confident and somewhat invincible. And on my way home to visit my family and friends, I stopped to visit my grandfather, who was fighting terminal cancer at the time. He was a lifelong steelworker from Allenport, Pennsylvania, and extremely proud of me. He was a tough old man with forearms like Popeye, kind of like mine, or Sergeant Major's, and always a man of high principles. He was the man that everybody wanted as a friend and nobody wanted as an enemy. He was my role model. After we ate lunch in the kitchen in the house where he raised the family and he spent his entire adult life, we decided to go get a beer at the Veterans for Foreign Wars in Allenport, Pennsylvania, about 3 blocks from his house. We walked down there, got into a cinder block building with no windows and 2 doors that sat on the railroad tracks that went to the Wheeling-Pittsburgh mill that he used to work at and sat on the banks of the Monongahela River. There were 2 people in the bar, the bartender and a little old man in a gray sport coat with a fedora hat on, much like the hat that Bear Bryant, the legendary coach for the University of Alabama, wore all the time. And in front of that old man, he had a shot of whiskey, he had a beer, and he had a glass of tomato juice. A few of you probably had everything except tomato juice last night. I thought to myself, now that's old school right there, a shot, a beer, and tomato juice. And as my grandfather and I sat there drinking our beer, talking about my SEAL training and how excited I was to get to my first SEAL team, he stopped me and told me how proud he was of me again. And then he said something to me that transcended my physical stature of anybody in there, my life experience to that date, and really my Citadel, where I was in my current Citadel cycle. And he said, now that you know my first name's Eugene, this won't have the impact. Thanks, so. He said, Eugene, remember, no matter how tough you are or how tough you think you are, there's somebody bigger and badder than you in the bar. I looked around, kind of perplexed, and thought to myself, not here. No way. Not now. My grandfather, being the consummate teacher, proceeded to tell me the story of the little old man that was at the end of the bar with that shot, that beer, and that glass of tomato juice. And how he went off to the Second World War as a young man, earned the Silver Star for heroism, came back, humbly started a family, modestly worked at the Wheeling-Pittsburgh pipe mill where the same mill my grandfather worked. No one knew we were in the company of a hero, and he wanted it that way. That point hit home and sank so deep that I live by it today. Never assume you know exactly where you stand, how much harder or how much easier you have it, or how much better you think you have it than anybody else that are around you. Whether it's that old man at the bar, your new boss, your new employee, a junior sailor, airman, soldier, or Marine, or even your spouse. Don't assume that you are the smartest, toughest, or best person around. If you do, or you find yourself thinking that, I'm going to tell you, I think you're in the wrong room. Surround yourself with teammates smarter than you. Get to know them, learn from them, and grow from them constantly. Just like you did with the people that are sitting to your left, your right, in front of you, and behind you. Never assume, never make stuff up, never be prideful or arrogant. Always ask questions, even if you think you know the answers. Engage, interact, and listen. Remember, there's always somebody smarter, bigger, and tougher than you in every room you enter. So be humble and learn everything you can from each and every one of them. Finally, truth number 4. Your attitude is everything, and it determines how you will handle what life throws at you. Nothing takes place of a good attitude, and I mean absolutely nothing. A good attitude, no matter how bad things get, changes any situation, and believe me, it creates opportunities where they did not previously exist. The worst situations in my life that I've been in were made better by those around me with great attitudes. I've been in some pretty bad situations. Sometimes it was finding a light or a way out of a bad situation. Other times it was cracking a joke or making light of something that most people would not think is funny. You all know what I'm talking about, because that kind of happens here at the Citadel. How many times did you go home on furlough, especially after knob year, explaining something that you thought was funny, but all your friends back home and your parents are like, I don't get it. It's those shared moments in hardship where great attitude makes all the difference in the world. So never lose it. You will have many opportunities throughout your life to practice that. Hang on to that. Keep a great attitude. It's infectious. It will affect the people around you. So that's it, pure and simple. My 4 truths to get through my Citadel cycles and what life throws at me. Life's a team sport, so be a good teammate. Life is hard, unfair, and at times unforgiving. There's always somebody bigger, tougher, and smarter than you in every room you enter. And your attitude is everything and will determine how you handle exactly what life throws at you. As I mentioned earlier, you are better prepared, definitely better prepared than I was to handle these truths than you are aware. But I know each and every one of you will persevere in life's endeavor, no matter what cycle you find yourself in. I stated this throughout the whole year. I think Sergeant Major in the back of the room will echo this, that the class of 2021 is the best class that we've seen in our 7 years here, hands down. You will go down, I'm sure, in history as one of the best classes in the 179-year history of this institution. You helped each other through knob year all the way up to this day. And look at you. Look at where you're sitting. You comfort each other during the tragic and unexpected loss of a classmate, one of our teammates. You took on a global pandemic with its challenges and changes and led this Corps of Cadets marvelously through what was without a doubt the hardest year in our 179 year history of the Citadel. You persevered through things most people will never experience in their entire lives, and you did it as a class. You did it as classmates. You did it as teammates. So on behalf of the entire Citadel community, I want to say bravo Zulu, well done. But for me personally, I want to say thank you. I'm immensely proud of each and every one of you. It's been the honor of my life to play a small part in your Citadel cycle that you're about to end. So I want to close with my favorite quote, one I heard over 35 years ago, and I think what emulates what I've shared with you today. The quote reads, "Fate whispered to the warrior, you cannot withstand the storm. And the warrior whispered back, I am the storm." Class of 2021, you are those warriors. Go take this world by storm. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless the Citadel. God bless the great state of South Carolina. And most of all, God bless America. Thank you.